All right, Leo, thanks for tuning in to your February of 2015 horoscope. My name is Athen. All right, so last month in January, we had a strong emphasis in terms of your 6th house, which is about routine, health, mental, physical health, taking care of things, taking care of your body, your diet, making sure you get enough sleep, etc. Now, the emphasis is still here because we're going to have Mercury retrograde continuing in that 6th house. Also, the sun's going to be there up until mid-month. So a little bit of emphasis there, still finishing up some things, some self-improvement matters. And however, this month is going to be very strongly emphasized on your 7th house of relationships. And so this can have to do with existing relationships and also perhaps some new relationships coming into your life. It all starts on the 1st when we have Venus going over Neptune. Now, this is very compassionate energy. It's very going with the flow, imaginative, very romantic too. For those of you involved in existing, for those of you in a relationship, for those of you who are single, could also be a time of meeting someone perhaps, and very spiritual sort of process, and enjoy it. Go with the flow. Try not to analyze it too much. It's just about, going with the flow and enjoying it in the present moment. But this is all relationships. Could be a new friend, could be, anything like that. So enjoy the 7th house, enjoy that connection, that spiritual compassion that you have with your relationships, all relationships. You'll find that very enjoyable because you've had Neptune in that 7th house for a long time. So this is about, just going with the flow with the relationships. And so that emphasis in particular is going on this month, especially around the 1st. Now on the 3rd, we've got this full moon taking place in Cancer in your 12th house. So for those of you who've been involved in anything spiritual or going within over the past 6 months, this can be a time of culmination in terms of it. So very good awareness too of your spiritual nature. You've had Jupiter there too, so this is buoyancy and good fortune involved with spiritual. And by spiritual, I just mean, going with the flow again, and also having that presence and compassion in your everyday life. And some of you might be involved with behind the scenes activities. If you have been, this is going to be the full moon in particular that you'll notice is perhaps that thing is culminating, it's coming to a sort of awareness. But overall, it's just a spiritual awareness for all of you Leos out there. And so tune into that. Very good meditative time, very important in terms of, having that peace and presence in your everyday life. Now on the 6th, we've got the sun opposite Jupiter. And so last month in January, perhaps you needed to balance some of the day-to-day things with making sure that you have this spiritual connection, making sure you're getting enough alone time, retreating time, making sure you're going within meditative time. So whatever that is, it's going to continue to be the case this month in terms of balancing the day-to-day experiences, the health, the routine, the day-to-day stuff with the spiritual stuff, and making sure there's a nice balance here. And of course, the balance is seeing that what you're doing on a day-to-day level, on a mundane level, is spiritual. And also seeing the immense importance of making your spiritual stuff into a sort of reality, which is embodying it and living it. That's what the 12th and 6th house axis is all about. It's about living our compassion, living our spirituality. So anyway, it's a good balance here. Just make sure you're doing both things, but merging them together is going to be the best way to utilize them. Now, on the 8th, we've got Venus going conjunct over Chiron, so some healing taking place with relationships, very positive here. You can find that very freeing too with all of this in Aquarius. Chiron's like when we put in the work or just enjoying it, all of a sudden it's like, we just feel healed in that process. So enjoy your relationships this month, I want to say to all of you Leos. Get involved, cultivate them, give them attention this month. And for those of you who are single, it's a good month to get active and meeting people. And it's just a good month of meeting people in general, whether it's for romantic or otherwise. And around the 8th, you could definitely feel that very healing and very tranquil for the whole month as well. Now on the 11th, like I said, we've got Mercury going station direct, so he's been retrograde in that 6th house. So anything you learned and whatever you've been reflecting on up until this point in regards to your health and self-improvement, now is the time where things can really start to move direct here. You've learned something around the 11th, pay attention to that, start putting it into practice. Perhaps it was a new health routine, perhaps it was understanding something about your particular body and what's important for your health, or maybe you've been practicing the routine and practicing getting enough sleep and these sorts of things. So through that practice time is over. Now it's time to start implementing it from the 11th onward. You'll find that very good. Mercury is just about that whole process. In the 6th house, he loves to be there. It's about working with the different energies. You can find that very, very enjoyable. Now on the 12th, we've got Mars and the Sun changing sign. Mars is going into Pisces. We've got the Sun going into Aquarius. So this is where things start to shift in terms of leading into March, actually. With Mars going into Pisces, which is your 8th house, you're going to notice there's going to be a shift here mid-month where you're going to want to start getting deeper with your relationships. You're going to want to start getting deeper with all elements of your life. Mars in the 8th house, and he naturally rules that 8th house too, is about motivation, spiritual motivation, the deeper meaning of life, what's truly meaningful to you. And so put energy into that. Good motivational, energy here is when you're actually doing things because you truly want to, because you're truly deeply connected to them. You're going to notice it's unlocking that spiritual Mars energy, and Mars in Pisces, which is natural for you guys in that 8th house. So you'll notice that, and into March, get deeper, and you'll be very glad you did. There'll be that nice drive and motivation that'll come as a result. Now also on the 12th, like I said, we got the sun going into Aquarius, so there's a shifting here now too in terms of more of relationships. This is where you've perhaps been seeing the importance of taking care of your body and having that vital life force energy when you do. Perhaps even enjoying your craft too. 6th house is kind of like, the craft and your work on a day-to-day sort of level. But anyways, the sun's going into your 7th, so mid-month, this is where things really start to illuminate here. You're going to be very passionate, could be very romantic too, again for some of you. But overall, just this creative energy and vital life force to be put into relationships. So again, that's why I'm emphasizing so much in terms of that 7th house for you. And from the 12th onward, you'll find that very, not only enjoyable in the Venusian sense, but here in the passionate sense, really wanting it and expressing yourself too. Because this is your ruler, and you guys are about this self-expression. So from especially mid-month onward, it's a great opportunity for you to just be the Leos that you are within the group, within the relationships, expressing yourself and being, very creative. So that's very nice shift there mid-month. Now on the 15th, we've got Venus going into Pisces. So now more emphasis on your 8th house where you were motivated to get deeper. This is where your relationships and your overall enjoyment of getting deeper is really going to come out. You're going to see the beauty of it, really enjoy it. So do that from the 15th. This is the second half of the month here, 15th onward into March. See how much you can enjoy the deep connections in your life. Again, not only relationships, but are you deeply connected to your work? Are you deeply connected to your community? Are you deeply connected to what you're studying or learning right now at the moment, etc.? And like I said, could be some good enjoyments, but also perhaps meeting people too as well. Or what I mean to say is maybe meeting people, but also cultivating existing relationships when you go deeper. It's like your relationships right now are in need of this sort of deeper transformational element. And so being the willing participant, wanting that, which I think you are going to be, is going to really benefit and cultivate your relationships. Now on the 18th, we've got the new moon taking place in Aquarius. So this could be a new relationship, a new perspective on relationships in general with the new moon in the 7th house. So whatever that is, start to cultivate it from the 18th onward. The new moon energy is sitting with it, and just kind of becoming acquainted with it. But as the moon starts to get to this full moon phase into March, it's about watering the plant, cultivating it. So new or existing, something relationship oriented, something perhaps partnership oriented if it's a business sort of thing, cultivating that and putting energy into it from the 18th onward into March will be very, very much in flow for you Leos. Now on the 21st and 22nd, we've got Venus conjunct Mars in that 8th house. There's a lot of passionate energy when these two planets come together. We're talking yin and yang, masculine, feminine, Mars, Venus coming together in that 8th house of the depth and intensity and really wanting to get raw and real. And I think it's very much in regards to relationships. So this could be, very passionate. It could be very sexual energy too, especially with the 8th house. So utilize that because it's a good merging of the masculine and feminine. It's a good blending of these energies. And whether it is relationship related, it could just be, again, anything you're connected to on the deep level. If it is your work, it's getting really deep into your work, putting that motivational energy into it. Pay attention to that around the 21st and 22nd in any area of your life you choose to funnel that yin-yang energy into what you're doing. Now on the 25th, we got the last aspect of the month. We've got the sun going over Neptune, and this is about illuminating something spiritual in that relationship sector. And overall, it's just about letting go and surrendering, allowing that compassionate side to come out with Neptune. Like I said, Neptune in the 7th, you guys have been learning to be more compassionate with your relationships, more spiritual in that area. And so this is the part of the month especially where it's really illuminated with the sun going over Neptune. So just continue that, continue those compassionate connections and going with the flow and surrender with relationships. Be very enjoyable, and with this type of aspect, it could be very romanticized or just overall idealized as well, in a good way, of being able to see clearly what it is you're truly spiritually connected to in your relationships. All right, Leo, so let's go and draw a card and see where Spirit would like a little more emphasis for you guys this month. This one popping out here. Pluto. All right, so there it is. Last month was a very strong influence on Pluto, which is in your 5th house, which is it's the Leo house. Essentially, you guys rule a 5th. And so there was a lot of transformation there, perhaps making some changes in a particular area of your life, probably having to do with increasing your sense of self-worth. So whatever that was, I'm getting the indication from Spirit that last month, whatever this power you stepped into, this sense of self-worth, I think that's what's really going to assist you in these transitions in your relationship sector. Because the 7th house, relationships, it's like we can't really further our relationships if we don't have a good sense of self-worth and identity, which you Leos naturally already have, but you've kind of stepped into a new power in terms of it last month in January. So taking that power in terms of this is what what you enjoy, this is what you deserve in a sense, because we all deserve abundance. This is what you value, and stepping into that value, expressing yourself and putting that just out into the open. And I think naturally that will benefit you, especially in the relationship sector, but in all areas of your life right now at the moment. All right, Leo, well, I hope you guys have a great month. I want to thank you all for all of your support. If you'd like to spread the word of Sidereal Astrology, please like. You can also share this video or comment below your experiences back in January and this month in February. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I do daily, weekly, and yearly horoscopes. You can also check those videos down below. Get in touch if you'd like a personal reading, and I hope you guys have a fantastic month. Take care.